tempest raged outside, mirroring the chaos within, as Euphemia stood torn between faith and despair, her husband's skepticism a chilling gust threatening to extinguish their family's flame. In that moment, young Carlo, with heart pounding and courage aflame, dared to utter a miracle's name, one that could bridge their fractured beliefs. The challenge hung heavy in the air. "Prove it! Show me a sign!" A crack of thunder echoed as uncertainties loomed. Would faith emerge triumphant amid doubt? But to understand how we got to this point, we need to go back to the beginning. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know in the comments where you're listening from. Winter had cast its heavy shadow over Milan in 2006, the nights growing longer and colder, wrapping the city in a chilling embrace. Amidst this bleakness lived a boy of 15, Carlo Acutis, with a heart full of faith and a curiosity that transcended his age. Carlo devoted his final months to documenting the miracles of the Eucharist. His small room overflowed with papers, photos, and his meticulously compiled research. Each piece told a story, each miracle a testament to the divine. One evening, while sifting through a collection of photographs and notes, Carlo stumbled upon something that sent a thrill of excitement through him. A recent report from Trani, Italy, about a miraculous bleeding host. He leaned closer to the screen, reading every detail. His fervent interest was soon accompanied by a gentle flicker of hope. Perhaps this miracle could inspire others, reignite faith in those who had grown weary of the spiritual battles they faced. As he delved deeper into the history of the Trani miracle, Carlo's thoughts wandered to Euphemia, a woman caught in an emotional tempest. Euphemia had been a pillar of faith within her community, her spirit heightened by a love that battled against the tides of despair. Recently, however, her husband Riccardo had converted to Catharism, a decision that shattered their family's unity. Losing a spouse to such beliefs felt like wading through dark waters, confusing, terrifying, and isolating. The weight of this concern pressed on Carlo's heart. He felt a strong connection between his passion for documenting miracles and Euphemia's struggles. With every miracle he chronicled, he prayed that they would touch the hearts of families like hers, entwined in conflict and strife. Euphemia spent sleepless nights hoping to bring Riccardo back to the faith they had once shared. Her hands clasped in prayer, desperation etched on her face, and tears traced the lines on her cheeks. Each day she reached out to him, offering the wisdom of theology and the beauty of vibrant faith. Yet every conversation seemed to deepen the chasm between them. Riccardo's unwavering stance left Euphemia feeling disheartened, her heart aching from the weight of her husband's suspicions and skepticism. The culmination of these emotional storms erupted on a grey morning, which bore a chill that seeped into the very bones of Milan. Carlo, engaged in his research, decided that this would be the day to reach out to Euphemia. Knowing her family had to face unimaginable trials, he wanted to share the hope that had ignited within him, the story of the bleeding host from Trani and its miraculous implications. As Carlo walked through the frost-kissed streets towards Euphemia's home, he envisioned her face lighting up with renewed vigor as he recounted the accounts he'd unearthed. This miracle carried the essence of faith, something tangible that could potentially sway Riccardo's hardened heart. When finally he arrived, he could hear the muffled sound of voices inside. Pushing the door open, he entered the warmth of their home, but was soon met with a palpable tension. Euphemia, tired but resolute, greeted him with a weary smile, while Riccardo's brows furrowed, his gaze skeptical. Carlo knew this wasn't the environment for his enthusiasm. Instead of jumping straight to the miraculous tale, he carefully changed the topic, focusing on family discussions and the nuances of their lives. The atmosphere felt heavy, and Euphemia was clearly eager for Carlo to share the hope he had brought, but Riccardo remained guarded and doubtful. Then, during a silence that felt too long, Carlo gained his courage. "Euphemia," he said softly, There's something incredible I've discovered. It's about a miracle from Trani. At the mention of the hope-filled tale, Euphemia leaned in, eyes glistening. But Ricardo scoffed, dismissing the wonder before it even had a chance to flourish. Another miracle? You really think these stories can change anything? Euphemia shot him a sharp glance, a mixture of frustration and sorrow visible on her face. These stories, Ricardo, often hold truth far beyond what we can see. She turned her attention back to Carlo, who quietly continued, sharing the essence of the miracle, the story of faith intertwined with love and forgiveness. But as the recounting unfolded, tension crackled in the air. Ricardo leaned back, arms crossed defiantly. Prove it then. You think a little story about a host can change my mind? Show me a sign, a real sign, and maybe I'll believe this mumbo-jumbo. Carlo's heart raced as the challenge hung heavily in the cool air. Euphemia glanced at him, concern written across her face. Had they stirred a storm from the depths of Ricardo's skepticism? What would unfold in this moment of contention? With a sudden crack of thunder in the distance, the atmosphere thickened with anticipation. It was then that Carlo realized they were at a pivotal moment, a moment that could shift their lives and rekindle the flame of faith within a fractured family. As the wind howled outside, little did they know, the sacred would soon intervene in a way no one could have anticipated. The atmosphere in the room was electric, charged with tension that felt as tangible as the crack of thunder echoing outside. Euphemia's heart raced, caught between hope and despair as she gazed at Ricardo. She sensed that this was more than an ordinary discussion. It was a crossroads, a moment testing the very fabric of their relationship. Ricardo, arms still crossed, wore the hardened expression of a man defined by questions he believed were unanswerable. He had taken detours from faith, questioning every tenet they had long held dear, seeking clarity in a world that seemed defined by chaos. In his eyes, Carlo's youthful zeal was naive, a simplistic view of an intricate reality. "You want to talk about miracles?" he challenged again. "Show me one. Prove their existence beyond tales and stories. I need evidence, something tangible." Carlo felt a knot tighten in his stomach. How could he possibly present a case for the divine when Ricardo's heart was closed off like a fortress? But in the midst of his uncertainty, he peeked at Euphemia, whose eyes shone with desperate encouragement. It was a reminder of why he was standing there. This wasn't just about Ricardo. It was about a family divided by belief, by fear, and by lost hope. "Sometimes faith is born in the darkest of times," Carlo said, taking a deep breath, gathering his thoughts. "Miracles don't always come with trumpets and fanfare. They can begin as whispers, encouraging us to open our hearts. The Trani miracle. It sparked conversion and faith in countless hearts. Why not in yours?" Euphemia nodded fervently, her heart lifting with Carlo's resolve. She wanted Ricardo to see that miracles weren't about grand displays. They often unfolded in the quietest moments. "Think of the people who witnessed the bleeding host," she pleaded, finding her voice amidst the overwhelming anguish. How many were drawn back to faith simply by witnessing something they thought impossible? They found in it the hope they thought lost. But Ricardo shook his head, frustration escalating. "Belief based on emotion is fleeting. I wish it were as simple to believe as you make it sound. What about people who have suffered through faith? What about those who went to their graves without a last miracle? This is not a fairy tale, Euphemia. You know it deep down." The weight of Ricardo's words stung. Every argument he presented felt like a knife, carving into Euphemia's spirit, but she refused to back down now. Faith isn't to provide guarantees. It's not about rendering everything fair and tidy. It's about understanding that sometimes we don't see the reason for suffering until it's a part of our story. You've seen our children grow. You've felt their love. This faith, it grounds them. How could a mere miracle fix all that's wrong? Ricardo's voice was filled with pain, his brows knitting together in thought. For a moment, his defenses wavered, shadows crossing his features like clouds masking sunlight. In that moment of vulnerability, Carlo sensed an opening. But it can mend the fractures, Ricardo. It can inspire change, ignite love, and heal wounds that seem impossible. You once believed in that power, remember? Remember when we gathered as a family and prayed for miracles to touch the lives of those around us. Emotion swelled in the air. Ricardo sighed heavily, frustration giving way to something more profound, longing. He looked away, fighting against a flood of memories. He remembered the innocence of their children's laughter, prayers shared at bedtime, the faith that glowed like a beacon in their lives, and how he once had that same fire within him. Maybe. Ricardo's voice trailed off as he stared out of the window at the storm raging beyond the glass, a tempest mirroring the chaos within him. Maybe in another time it would have been easier. Then let love guide you back, Euphemia urged softly, stepping closer. Let love remind you of the faith that once anchored us. It doesn't have to be grand or dramatic. It can grow quietly like a seed in the soil, nurtured by prayer and understanding. The wind picked up outside, howling against the walls as if to emphasize the storm brewing within. The priest, still present, offered his comforting presence amidst the chaos. Ricardo, he began gently, doubts are a natural part of faith. It's a journey, not a destination. You need not walk this road alone. Let us explore this deepening of belief together. For the first time, Ricardo's shoulders relaxed, though his heart remained heavy with uncertainty. He looked between Euphemia and Carlo, his face softening as he realized the depth of their love and desire for him to return. If miracles are just whispers, perhaps I can begin to listen. But I'm not sure it's enough. I'm not sure I can just turn back. Euphemia reached out, taking his hand in hers, her thumb gently stroking his palm. We're in this together, she reassured him, her voice tender. One step at a time. Let's explore the stories of miracles. Let them breathe life into our understanding. Carlo watched, his heart swelling as he witnessed a glimmer of hope emerge from the wreckage. You don't have to jump in fully at once. Let's take time to explore, to question, to seek answers together. The realization hit him. It started with being open, listening, and allowing love to guide the way, much like faith itself. As the room filled with silence, the crackling excitement of curiosity replaced the tension. The initiation of a new chapter seemed imminent. With the priest by their side, they forged a collective promise to unearth the power of faith and miracles anew, to rekindle the flame that had flickered dangerously low. And in that moment, a crack of lightning illuminated the sky, followed by a resounding boom of thunder, a striking reminder of the divine presence watching over them. It felt bittersweet, ushering in a renewed sense of purpose as they took collective breaths, ready to step forward together, despite the uncertainty of the path ahead. They may not have all the answers now, but they were united in love, primed to seek understanding in the depths of their faith, and sometimes that's where miracles truly began. As Pentecost dawned with a golden light piercing through the lingering clouds, the Acutis family gathered once more in the living room, their collective spirit filled with anticipation. Euphemia carefully placed the small, consecrated host on the table, its presence quietly commanding as the sunlight danced upon it, creating a halo of warmth. Today was not just another day. It was a moment pregnant with possibility, a new chapter waiting to unfold. Let's open our hearts and minds, Euphemia proposed, her voice steady but hushed as if reverencing the sacredness of the moment. Today, let us earnestly seek understanding and connection through this miracle. Ricardo nodded, the weight of his earlier skepticism somewhat lifted. He felt an unexpected vulnerability as he observed the host, its simplicity contrasting starkly with the complexity of faith swirling in his mind. "What are we supposed to do?" he asked, a hint of uncertainty still lacing his tone. Carlo leaned forward, enthusiasm bubbling within him. "Let's begin by praying out loud, each of us sharing what the Eucharist means to us. Connecting with each other on this level, could help us all see differently. With small, hesitant gestures, they joined hands once more, the host glowing gently between them as they prepared to dive into a new form of prayer, one that opened the door to dialogue and reflection. Euphemia led the way, her heart pounding in rhythm with her words. I pray for a rekindling of faith, for miracles to reveal themselves in our hearts and lives, starting today. Carlo followed suit. I pray that we remain open to the possibility of understanding miracles and to seeing their presence in our lives. Ricardo took a deep breath, allowing his heart to speak. I pray for clarity. I want to know if this faith can truly guide me back home, he admitted, his voice quaking slightly. As they prayed, a gentle breeze swirled through the open window, carrying a soft melody of rustling leaves and distant birdsong. With each moment of reflection, the host seemed to shimmer even brighter, emanating a warmth that wrapped around them like an embrace. Euphemia smiled, recognizing an unspoken connection weaving through them, a binding thread of love and faith, linking their hearts, filling the gaps left by doubt. After their prayers subsided, Carlo excitedly reached for a book he had brought along, a collection of stories about the miracles of the Eucharist. He flipped through the pages, his eyes ablaze with excitement at the possibility of conveying profound truths. "Look here," he said, pointing to a story that spoke of a miraculous event wherein a bleeding host led to the conversion of countless hearts in the years prior. This miracle changed lives. It inspired the weak and renewed the faith of the fearful. Ricardo listened deeply, engaged in Carlo's earnest recounting, each word opening doors in his heart that had long been closed. As Carlo narrated the tale, Ricardo felt the stirring of emotions tugging at him, inviting him to welcome belief back into his life. "What do you think?" Carlo finally asked, his innocent eyes shimmering with hope. "Can we believe that this miraculous event might also transform our lives? Can it touch you the same way?" "I can't say for certain," Ricardo replied slowly, "but hearing these stories does stir something. It's like I can feel echoes of belief whispering beneath my skepticism." "Then that's a beginning!" Euphemia exclaimed, excitement spilling out as she took Ricardo's hands in hers. "We're journeying together toward understanding. This miracle can pave the way for all of us to find peace." As the day progressed, the Acutis family embarked on a broader exploration of faith. They delved into discussions about saints, about miraculous visions, and instances of divine intervention that had touched countless lives. Each story served to fortify their resolve, dispelling layers of fear like morning fog beneath the rising sun. Carlo's excitement pushed them further, igniting deep, meaningful conversations where they shared vulnerabilities and desires for faith to blossom anew. However, it was during one such discussion, as they engaged in lively debate over the role of miracles in daily life, that a subtle shift occurred in the atmosphere. Outside, deep grey clouds began to gather again, swirling tumultuously, mirroring the inner turmoil that sometimes surfaced within Ricardo. Just as doubt threatened to creep back, he paused. "You know," he said, his voice breaking, "I often wonder if I've closed myself off so much that even a hint of the sacred can't reach me. But these stories are helping me rethink that." "I believe that," Carlo replied, leaning in closer. "Miracles don't have to be loud. Sometimes they're the softest whispers, just waiting for us to listen." A gentle smile spread across Ricardo's face as he began to explore the depth of their conversations, understanding the very essence of faith was not about receiving clear answers, but continuing to ask questions, remaining vulnerable, and being willing to embrace the unknown. Then there was a loud clap of thunder, causing them to jump slightly, but instead of fear, it invoked an awareness of the divine. What an incredible moment, hearing the storm rumble outside while we fill our hearts with faith inside, Euphemia remarked with wonder. It reminds us that we can find beauty even in the midst of chaos. As evening approached, they decided to gather around the table once more. The host sat at its center, radiating a sacred presence. Euphemia lit a candle, the flame flickering gently as it cast dancing shadows across the walls. They closed their eyes, offering one final prayer of thanksgiving for the insight they had shared that day. "Thank you," Ricardo said, "for bringing me back into this fold, for inviting me to see the world through a lens of wonder and faith." And as they finished their prayer, a lightness enveloped them. Ricardo felt a metamorphosis. His heart, once a fortress of doubt, felt like a fragile bloom beginning to unfurl its petals toward the sun. The storm calmed as night fell, bringing with it a clarity that seemed to settle in every corner of the home. The days to come would still hold their challenges, but they were buoyed by a newfound hope, a miraculous understanding that miracles were not merely occurrences of the extraordinary. They were also the inclusion of sacred moments in the midst of everyday life. As they shared laughter, stories, and lingering glances filled with love, they set forth on a journey toward deeper faith together, their bonds woven tighter with every word, every prayer, and every ounce of vulnerability embraced. In this newfound unity lay the truth of the miracles they sought, waiting to unfold in beautiful ways yet to come. In the weeks that followed their transformative visit to the shrine in Trani, the Acutis family became more deeply intertwined in their spiritual journey. A new routine began to form, one that established prayer and reflections on faith as a cornerstone of their daily lives. Mornings greeted them with a renewed sense of purpose, and evenings had become sanctuaries of shared experiences and extended conversations that ebbed and flowed. One brisk Saturday morning, Carlo proposed, "Let's create a family journal. We can write about our experiences, our prayers, and the miracles that touch our lives." His excitement was palpable, lighting up the room like a beacon. "I love that idea," Euphemia responded warmly. "We could also include stories of saints and miracles from the past that inspire us. It could serve as a source of strength and guidance for our family." Ricardo, still feeling hesitant about the idea of documented faith, raised an eyebrow. "But what if we struggle with doubt again? Wouldn't it be better to just experience our faith without putting pressure on ourselves to document it?" Euphemia smiled tenderly at him, her heart brimming with understanding. "That's precisely why we should do it. The journal won't just capture our successes, but also our struggles and questions. It will remind us that faith is a journey with ups and downs, and that it's okay to have insecurities and doubts as long as we face them together. Through writing, we can also see how our faith evolves." Intrigued by the idea and slowly drawn in by Euphemia's gentle encouragement, Ricardo found himself nodding. "All right, let's give it a try. We can capture every thought and feeling along the way." The restful weekend became a whirlwind of organizing their home for the project. They picked out a simple yet beautiful journal, its cover adorned with a delicate image of the Sacred Heart. Each family member contributed to its creation. Carlo was in charge of the opening entry, writing about their journey to Trani and the miraculous experience they all shared there. Months rolled on, with the journal transforming not only into a record of their faith journey, but also into a treasured keepsake encompassing laughter, prayers, reflections, and even heartaches shared within their family. It became a space of vulnerability, allowing them to articulate their thoughts and feelings in ways that often felt daunting in spoken conversations. As they filled the pages, a particular entry caught Ricardo's attention one evening. On the page, Carlo had written about his budding curiosity regarding the Eucharist, how it seemed to connect him to something greater. Inspired, Ricardo decided to build upon his son's thoughts. "Maybe we can explore the concept of the Eucharist further," he suggested at dinner one night. Euphemia beamed. "Absolutely. I heard that there's a local group that discusses Eucharistic miracles. Perhaps we could attend one of their meetings together." "All right then," Ricardo responded, newfound enthusiasm coursing through him. "Let's go and immerse ourselves in that discussion." As they participated in the meeting, Ricardo felt the warmth of acceptance fill the room. Individuals of different ages gathered, each sharing testimonies of how the Eucharist had impacted their lives. One man spoke passionately about how a miraculous encounter with the Eucharist had led him back to church after years of wandering away from his faith. "We're not alone in this journey," Ricardo thought, absorbing the power of communal connection and every soul present celebrating their faith. He found himself captivated by the diverse stories, each reflecting a different facet of belief and experience. The energy pulsed with the shared understanding that faith was a living entity, ready to grow when nurtured by love and community. The conversations rooted deeply within him, yet something inside still nudged at Ricardo, a lingering hesitation. After the meeting, he approached the man who had spoken so eloquently about his relationship with the Eucharist. "I couldn't help but notice how moved you were while sharing your story. How did you overcome your doubts?" The man paused for a moment, contemplating. "I have learned that faith is not the absence of doubt, but the courage to continue believing in the midst of it. Each day is a new opportunity to re-engage with my faith, to explore the miracles that surround me, no matter how small they may seem." Those words resonated deeply within Ricardo. He understood then that he was not alone in his struggles. Fellow believers faced their doubts head-on, embracing faith in its multifaceted complexity. With newfound clarity, Ricardo returned home, eager to reflect upon the illuminating experiences of the evening. Conversing over dinner, Ricardo recounted his encounter. "I realized that faith does not require perfection. It requires a willingness to embrace both light and shadow. Each small miracle, every moment of connection, adds to our collective journey toward understanding." Euphemia smiled warmly, her heart swelling with pride. "That's true. Miracles are simply the beautiful manifestations of love that exist in our lives. When we recognize them, we nurture faith within ourselves and others." Every evening continued to flourish with discussion and prayer, encouraging their family bond to deepen even more. They continued to document their journey within the journal, celebrating the miracles they encountered, initiating conversations with friends, attending Mass, and sharing their experience of faith within their community. As they moved through their shared lives, one particular evening brought an unexpected event. As they gathered for dinner, a sudden knock echoed through the house. Ricardo opened the door to find a young woman standing at the threshold, visibly distressed. "Excuse me," she said, her voice shaky. "I'm lost and I really need help. Can you please assist me?" Without hesitation, Euphemia ushered her inside. "Of course. Please come in." The woman, whose name was Sophia, shared her story, a recent bout of hardship that had left her feeling disconnected and questioning her faith. As she poured her heart out, she revealed feeling utterly lost, a shadow of despair clouding her path. Ricardo felt a profound sense of empathy towards Sophia, a flicker of recognition in her struggles mirroring his own. Encouraged by the warmth of his family and the spirit of unity they had cultivated, he shared a passage from their journal that resonated with the very essence of what Sophia needed to hear. "Faith isn't about having a complete roadmap. It's about taking the next steps, even in the darkness." He spoke softly, letting his words wrap around her like a comforting embrace. "Sometimes the hardest part is just reaching out for help," Euphemia chimed in, her voice vibrant with compassion. "You're welcome here, and we'd love to walk alongside you as you find your way back." Touched by their kindness, Sophia's guard began to soften. Together, they shared warmth and hope over dinner, each moment reinforcing the beauty of faith in action. Ricardo felt the incredible weight of connection grow heavy in the room. They were truly living the miracle of love right before them. By the time Sophia left that night, she was enveloped in new friendships and a renewed sense of hope, a flickering flame that had been reignited within her. The Acutis family realized they had shared a miraculous experience, a fleeting moment, yet one that would resonate deeply with both them and Sophia for years to come. As they closed their kitchen doors that night, Ricardo smiled amidst the warmth of gratitude filling his chest. We've been given a beautiful opportunity to weave our faith into the lives of others. It's not about making it perfect. It's about loving each other along the journey. And with that, the Acutis family continued to embrace the journey of faith they had set forth on, recognizing that every interaction, every miracle would unite them further as they grew in tenderness, compassion, and love for one another. In the face of challenges and doubts, they knew they could always seek refuge in their shared vulnerability and commitment to nurturing the miraculous within themselves and those they touched. Together, they forged a path illuminated not just by sacred moments, but a deep-rooted faith built on love surrounding them every day. In the weeks following Sophia's heartfelt visit, the Acutis family became a beacon of hope for their community, their home now serving as a sanctuary for those seeking connection and understanding. Their gatherings expanded, welcoming not just friends, but also newcomers who were drawn by the warmth radiating from their openness. They had created a network of support that felt alive, pulsating with the strength of faith and love. One sunny weekend afternoon, Ricardo decided to host a gathering focused on sharing miracles, a theme dear to his heart. He felt inspired to explore the profound impacts of the small acts of love that often go unnoticed. Let's have an open forum where everyone can share stories about the miracles in their lives. It could be a celebration of the everyday miracles that surround us, he suggested to Euphemia and Carlo while sipping coffee on the patio. Euphemia's eyes shone with approval. That sounds beautiful, Ricardo. Every one of us has experienced moments filled with grace, even if they seem small. We should shine a light on them. Carlo, filled with enthusiasm, added, "We could even include some activities for the kids. They can engage in arts and crafts, creating something special to represent their miracles." With that, plans quickly formed, and the family set about preparing for the weekend gathering with excitement. They invited families from the neighborhood, local parishioners, and even friends from their earlier gatherings, eager to find their common ground in the stories of faith that connected them. On the day of the event, the Acutis household transformed into a bustling hub of laughter, conversation, and joy. Colorful banners hung above, adorned with words like hope, faith, and love. The children ran about, their laughter mingling with the sweet scents of baked goods prepared by Euphemia, an essential part of bringing everyone together. As guests began to arrive, Ricardo welcomed them at the door, his heart swelling with pride. "Thank you for coming. We're so glad to have you here to share in our celebration," he said warmly, inviting everyone inside. Once the guests settled, Ricardo gathered everyone around the cozy living room, filled with blankets and cushions to lean upon. He could feel the palpable energy in the room, bursting with anticipation for the stories that would follow. "Today, we're here to celebrate the miracles in our lives, no matter how big or small," Ricardo began, gesturing towards the collection of handmade crafts the children had created. "Let's share stories, and in doing so, strengthen the bonds we have as a community." With that, he invited the first speaker, a dear family friend named Maria, who had witnessed the miraculous during her battle with illness. "A little over a year ago, I faced a serious health scare," she began, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. "I remember feeling so lost and alone. But through that darkest time, I felt the love of everyone surrounding me. The prayers, the little acts of kindness from friends and family were what kept me going. I realized that those moments of compassion were miracles, angels guiding me through." Applause broke out in the room, a collective acknowledgement of the profound impact her story had on everyone present. Next, a young boy named Luca chimed in, his excitement bubbling over. "My dog got lost, and I prayed every night for him to come back. One day he just showed up. I think it was a miracle." His small voice echoed innocence and joy, reminding everyone of the simplistic beauty of miracles that roam through every corner of life. As the hours passed, guests took turns sharing their own intimate tales of hope and love. Stories unfolded, some were tear-jerking, others filled with laughter, as people recounted tender moments of compassion and confirmation that miracles often existed in the mundane. People began to realize how intertwined their experiences were, a beautiful tapestry revealing the beauty of community. The recognition of shared struggles made the bonds of connection feel even stronger, transforming the gathering into a true celebration of resilience and faith. As the evening drew near, Ricardo felt a deep sense of gratitude building within him. The warmth of each story created a powerful reminder of why they had embarked on this journey together, a shared exploration of miracles nestled in human connection. Finally, when the last story was shared, Euphemia stood to address the room. We've all seen how love brings us together to navigate the joys and sorrows of life. It's evident that miracles thrive in these connections, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you. Let's continue to encourage one another, to uplift our spirits, and to cherish the miracles that each of us experiences every day. Everyone erupted in applause, filled with affirmation, inspired by the truth that had emerged throughout the evening. With the night winding down, Ricardo glanced around, taking in the light in every face, the laughter, tears, and warmth entwined into the fabric of unity that had formed within their community. An overwhelming sense of peace settled over him, a testimony to the commitment they had cultivated in this journey of shared faith and vulnerability. Just as guests started to prepare to leave, Sophia approached Ricardo, her eyes glistening. I had no idea what to expect when I first walked through your door, but tonight it's been an incredible blessing. I feel seen, heard, and connected in ways I haven't felt in a long time. Ricardo smiled, touched by her words. You're part of us now, and we are so thankful for the light you bring. Let's continue to grow in this journey together. As the gathered friends began to disperse, warm hugs and promises of future gatherings filled the air. The Acutis family helped clean the space, sharing laughter and memories of the night's events. Clear smiles painted their faces, each feeling a little lighter as a connection deepened within each heart. As the lights dimmed and silence enveloped their home, Ricardo took a collective breath, absorbing the essence of what had unfolded. They had not only witnessed miracles that night, they had actively created them, moments of kindness and compassion that echoed far beyond their shared space, encouraging each person to recognize the miracles intricately woven into the fabric of life. Together, the Acutis family stood at the threshold of a new chapter in their lives, eyeing a horizon filled with hope, nurturing a faith that continued to bloom amid life's complexities. They embraced the beauty of journeying through every twist and turn, holding hands in unity, steadfastly ready to uncover the extraordinary miracles that awaited them beyond tomorrow. In the months that followed, the Acutis family thrived amidst the warmth of their growing community. Their gatherings evolved into a cherished ritual, a space where people could come together to share not just meals, but stories of resilience, love, and faith. Each meeting was infused with laughter. It became clear that this nurturing environment resonated with everyone involved. One bright Saturday morning, the family decided to host an outdoor picnic in the local park, inviting neighbors and friends to join in a day of relaxation and fellowship. We can set up games for the kids and maybe share some of our favorite stories about how faith has worked in our lives, Euphemia suggested, her enthusiasm contagious. Carlo, bubbling with excitement, jumped in. Let's do a talent show where everyone can share something special. It could be singing, telling jokes, or even showing off some fun skills. Ricardo smiled at his family's energy, knowing that these gatherings had become a source of joy, not only for them, but for everyone they pulled together. That's a fantastic idea. Let's encourage one another to shine and to spotlight the unique gifts we each bring to this community. The day of the picnic dawned bright and clear, the sun shining warmly upon the grass. As families arrived with blankets, baskets, and colorful contributions, the park hummed with life. Children giggled, chasing one another while adults set up tables adorned with home-cooked treasures. Ricardo couldn't help but feel a sense of pride swell within him as he looked around. Conversations flowed like the breeze, merging into a symphony of joy and camaraderie. After a hearty meal, it was time for the talent show. Amidst the excitement, Carlo jumped up to act as the enthusiastic host. "Welcome, everyone. Today we celebrate our unique talents and the miracles our creativity brings to our lives." His eyes sparkled with mischief as he encouraged everyone to participate. As the performances began, each act showcased the best of their community spirit. Laughter and applause filled the air when Sophia stepped forward, her smile radiant. "I'm going to perform a song my grandmother used to sing to me," she announced. As her voice soared, the audience swayed along, entranced by the memory and warmth woven into the music. As the performances continued, Ricardo felt joy bubbling within him. Each person who stepped on stage not only represented their individual gifts, but also the light they brought to the community. "Now my turn," came a young boy's voice, his confidence shining through as he took center stage with a rhythmic dance that sent waves of laughter cascading through the crowd. After each act, applause erupted, igniting a sense of camaraderie that mirrored the bonds they had nurtured over time. There was something magical in watching everyone come together, embracing their vulnerabilities and celebrating one another's talents. Towards the end of the talent show, Carla, an elderly lady who had always been quiet in the gatherings, stood up hesitantly. I've never done anything like this before, but I've been inspired by all of you. I would like to share a poem I wrote about the importance of community and connection." Spotlights focused on her as she read her heartfelt verses. The words poured forth, woven with wisdom and experience, touching every heart present. As she finished, a wave of silence settled over the crowd before they erupted in applause, appreciating her courage and the truth behind her lines. Ricardo felt the tears prick at the corners of his eyes, touched by the unity resonating in that moment. He understood that they were no longer just individuals sharing meals. They were a collective force, a community woven together by love and faith. As the sun began to set, ablaze in hues of pink and orange, families settled together on blankets, sharing stories and laughter, while snacks floated between groups. Children chased fireflies, and the comforting sounds of nature enveloped the space. Feeling compelled to say something, Ricardo stood and gathered everyone's attention. "Thank you all for being here today. This isn't just a day of fun. It's a reminder that we create miracles together, through our vulnerabilities, our talents, and our kindness. Each of us plays a vital role in this community, and I am grateful for every one of you." With heartfelt agreement, guests raised their glasses in unison, acknowledging the spirit of connection that had suffused their day. That evening, as families began to say their goodbyes, Ricardo reflected on the miracle that their gatherings had become, a powerful testament to the beauty of love in action. Each shared story, each act of courage seen within their community, illuminated the importance of nurturing faith and connection among one another. As the last guests departed and stars filled the evening sky, Ricardo, Euphemia, and Carlo stood together, hand in hand, reflecting on the richness of the day. "Today was incredible," Carlo remarked, his face bright with joy. "We spread so much love and shared so many stories. Imagine all the miracles waiting for us in the future." With hearts brimming with hope, the Acutis family felt ready to embrace whatever awaited them next. Every twist, every turn of their journey, and every miracle they would encounter along the way. They would continue living in love, nurturing the relationships they had formed, and always being open to recognize the sacred beauty in their lives and those they touched. Together, they would face the world with open hearts, committed to unveiling the extraordinary miracles hidden within the fabric of their shared existence. A truly deserved lesson. If you agree, please like this video and subscribe for more stories. And tell us what you thought in the comments.